We have even succeeded in changing the theological question. No longer do we debate as theologians the goodness or the sin involved in same-sex anything. That work, including solid scriptural and moral theological study, has been done and done well. Today, the theological question is not about homosexuality, but about heterosexism. What makes people discriminate? What motivates the fear and the hatred? And on the other side, what kind of God grounds a sex-positive ethic? How do we teach our children to love safely and well whomever they choose? Scholars from a range of traditions are exploring not homosexuality anymore, that's old movies, but heterosexism in all the major world religions. We have succeeded, and Dignity has played a part in this, in shifting the theological paradigm from worrying about the healthy, good, natural, and holy same-sex love to looking critically at heterosexism, what would prevent that love from flowering. That is no small paradigm shift in the doing of theology, and Dignity has played a part in that. Our work is far from over, but we engage in it from a new starting point with an ever-increasing group of allies. So I turn in conclusion to the kind of church we want to be, now that we're part of this new mainstream I described, that is reforming like the core groups, that is pro-women like Women Church, and that is part of this larger interreligious fabric of our community through the National Religious Leadership Roundtable. What is it that we want to be? Some of you may have noted that on Monday of this week, President Barack Obama and First Lady Michelle Obama welcomed 250 queer people to the White House, including some high-dollar donors, some of whom had pulled their money out of the Democratic event and might have hastened the invitation, and many activists who were pressing the president to repeal Don't Ask, Don't Tell and the Defense of Marriage Act, and to move proactively on our rights that are too long in coming. Episcopal Bishop Gene Robinson got a shout-out from the president at that event, and I couldn't help but think it could have been so many of our bishops. Oh well, next time, remember. We need to have high expectations of the Obama administration, but I think we can rejoice at the fact that we're on the road. The president reviewed some gay history, reiterated some promises, and concluded, and I quote, "Now, even as we take these steps, we must recognize that real progress depends not only on the laws we change, but as the president said before, on the hearts we open." Not on the laws we change, but on the hearts we open. That, I think, is our work. He went on to say, as we've seen so many times in history, once the Spirit takes hold, there is little that can stand in its way. I think he must have been reading John McNeill. The president went on to say, the riots at Stonewall gave way to protests, and protests gave way to movements, and movements gave way to transformation that continues to this day. He said, it continues when a partner fights for her right at the hospital bedside of a woman she loves. It continues when a teenager is called a name for being different and says, so what if I am? It continues in your work and in your activism, in your fight to freely live your lives to the fullest. Unquote, Barack Obama. Yes, these words were spoken this week at the White House, in case you think I'm exaggerating our accomplishments. I repeat, and I would say if he were here, much more needs to be done. Stop, Don't Ask, Don't Tell, repeal DOMA, you know the agenda. But yes, with the president, we are on the road. The president continued, the truth is, when these people protested at Stonewall 40 years ago, no one could have imagined that you, and then he said, or for that matter, I, would be standing here today. So we're all witnesses to monumental change in this country. That should give us hope, he said. But we cannot rest. We must continue to do our part to make progress step by step, law by law, mind by changing mind. That was President Obama on Monday. I think we're in a similar situation as Dignity. 40 years ago, no one could have imagined that we would gather today in such good company. With so much progress that polls show that same-sex love is of minimal concern to most young Catholics, who accept it along with iPods and the internet as just how life is. That does give me hope, but neither can we rest, because simple acceptance of us is not enough when it comes to love and justice. Our Catholic faith demands a great deal more than simply making the way safe for us. It compels us to make the road wider and more accessible for all. I believe that the easy work is behind us and the heavy lifting is ahead. We have made a way out of no way for some LGBTQ people, especially those who look like me. White, middle class, well-educated, born in this country. But there are many, whether straight or gay, who still find no welcome in church or society, who have no dignity in any sense of the word. Our sisters and brothers of color, especially African Americans, Native Americans, and Latinos, live with racism that remains an indignity in our nation. New Americans, those that some persist in calling immigrants, as if some of us weren't a generation or so ago. New Americans, people who lack only papers, not promise, deserve dignity. Persons with disabilities, who still can't get to work or to church because we have not found ways to include them on their terms, demand dignity. Our own trans people have legitimate claims on their dignity that we must pledge ourselves to assume. Women. Women require reproductive health care for dignity, and that remains under constant threat. The social justice agenda is long and unfinished. Yes, we have been faithful and fabulous, my friends, to get where we are today. But the best is yet to come. Now is our chance to be church, to act on the values of love and justice so that those who suffer the marginalization we know only too well will get a welcome hand, a check, protective laws, nothing less than what justice requires in the transformation of society and church. That is our work now as Dignity, to let the needs of the world and not the failings of the institutional church set our agenda in the years to come. Let the needs of the world and not the failings of the institutional church set our agenda. While civil marriage is important, I'm even more concerned that we create full civil equality so that everyone, single or couple, has the rights they deserve. And that not only those who are lucky in love are lucky under the law. Full civil